If your ears are ringing all the time, your body is lacking this. Stop what you're doing for just one profound moment and truly listen to the silence around you, or rather, the lack thereof. Do you truly hear it? That elusive, high-pitched whistle, that relentless, insidious hiss, that persistent buzzing sensation that seems to emanate not from the physical space around you, but from the very core of your consciousness, from deep within your skull. For countless individuals, this maddening internal symphony is simply dismissed as tinnitus, a common affliction that conventional medical wisdom often attributes to the inevitable march of age. Your physician, armed with a typical diagnostic approach, might very well have confirmed it as age-related, perhaps even handing you a well-worn brochure for a white noise machine, accompanied by the dispiriting advice to simply learn to live with it. But I stand before you today, not as just another voice, but as a dedicated medical researcher who has devoted my entire professional career to meticulously dissecting and scrutinizing the vast landscape of clinical data, the very data that the prevailing system so often chooses to conveniently overlook or dismiss. I am here to tell you with absolute conviction that this incessant internal sound is unequivocally not a death sentence for your precious silence. Far from it. This is a profound, unmistakable SOS signal, a biological alarm bell ringing with urgent desperation, a clear and undeniable communication from your body. Your auditory nerve, that incredibly delicate and complex conduit of sound, is quite literally screaming for help because it is being profoundly starved of the essential, life-giving fuel it so desperately requires to function optimally, to even function correctly at all. And my purpose today is to meticulously unravel and demonstrate precisely how we can effectively and permanently shut off that persistent, debilitating alarm. Because if you find yourself navigating life over the age of 50 and your ears simply will not cease their relentless ringing, you are not merely contending with an isolated ear problem. What you are truly experiencing is a systemic cellular starvation problem, a deep-seated metabolic crisis at the very foundation of your being. And until we fundamentally address and rectify this profound cellular hunger, until we provide your body with the nutrients it craves, that intrusive, maddening noise will, I assure you, never truly cease. In my daily practice, I encounter patients just like you, individuals grappling with the relentless burden of this internal cacophony on a constant basis. One such individual, whose journey profoundly illustrates this truth, is a remarkable man named Roberto. At 62 years young, Roberto was, and remains, a brilliant structural engineer, a mind of exceptional clarity and precision. Yet, when he first sat in my office just 7 short months ago, the man before me was a mere shadow, a ghost of his former vibrant self. His eyes, once sharp and focused, now held a deep, weary glaze. For 3 agonizing years, he had not known the profound restorative balm of more than 4 hours of sleep per night. He confided in me, his voice a strained whisper. "Dr. Kent, the myriad specialists I've consulted all declare my tests to be perfectly normal, but I feel, quite frankly, like I am losing my mind. This constant noise is driving me to the brink." And as I meticulously reviewed those very normal test results, I relayed to Roberto precisely what I am now sharing with you. The concept of normal in conventional medicine is, regrettably, often nothing more than a statistical average derived from an overwhelmingly sick and suboptimally functioning population. When your doctor observes, for instance, a vitamin B12 level languishing at the very bottom of the accepted normal range, they often simply check a box, deeming it acceptable. My perspective, however, is fundamentally different. When I observe that exact same number, I don't just see a statistic. I envision a nerve that is literally and metaphorically stripping its own vital insulation away, sparking with chaotic electrical discharges, much like a severely frayed copper wire constantly short-circuiting. When your delicate auditory nerve begins to spark in this erratic fashion, your brain, in its desperate attempt to interpret this malfunctioning signal, registers it as a constant beep, a persistent buzz, a maddening hum. This, my friends, is nothing less than a neural short circuit, a fundamental breakdown in the harmonious transmission of sound. If you have been repeatedly assured that your laboratory tests are fine, yet your head continues to scream with an unbearable internal din, you are, regrettably, being failed by a medical system that, for all its advancements, fundamentally misunderstands the critical, foundational role of neurological nutrition. Today, we are going to embark on a deep, illuminating dive into the 8 specific phantom sound killers, the crucial nutritional and physiological factors that conventional medicine is, with astonishing regularity, profoundly missing. To truly grasp the underlying reasons why this unrelenting ringing simply refuses to abate, one must first confront and comprehend the astonishing fragility of your hearing system, a marvel of biological engineering that is far more delicate than most realize. Deep within the intricate labyrinth of your inner ear, a microscopic and absolutely vital conduit exists, known as the labyrinthine artery. It is a vessel of such breathtaking minuteness, so exquisitely fine, that a single red blood cell can barely, painstakingly squeeze its way through its slender passage. Now take a moment to truly imagine the catastrophic cascade of events that unfolds when your body is embroiled in a state of systemic inflammation, or when your blood, for various reasons, becomes even subtly, incrementally too thick or viscous. That infinitesimally tiny pipe, the labyrinthine artery, begins to constrict, to narrow its already fragile opening. The delicate hair cells nestled within your cochlea, those incredible transducers responsible for converting mechanical vibrations into the electrical impulses our brain interprets as sound, begin to suffocate. They don't simply cease to function and die, they actively malfunction. In their compromised, starved state, they begin to generate erroneous ghost signals, chaotic electrical noise where there should be silence. This is precisely where the groundbreaking 2025 research emanating from the prestigious Newcastle University steps in, radically shifting our understanding. Their seminal work definitively demonstrated that tinnitus is not merely an isolated affliction of the ear. It is more profoundly a systemic failure of the brain's sophisticated filtering mechanisms to effectively process and dismiss these incessant error messages. It's a complex neurological process known as neural synchrony, where your brain cells, instead of functioning harmoniously, begin to chant together in a destructive, self-perpetuating loop of noise. And unless we intervene to meticulously restore the microcirculation to those starved inner ear cells and definitively break that deeply entrenched neural loop, your brain will remain tragically locked in an agonizing, perpetual cycle of processing internal noise that, in reality, isn't even truly there in the external world. Our imperative, therefore, is clear and urgent. We must meticulously clear the pipes, optimize the circulatory flow, and provide profound nourishment to these starving cells to fundamentally reset the entire auditory system. Let us now delve into the first crucial line of defense against this internal chaos, the elemental power of zinc. But I am not referring to the haphazard, often poorly absorbed zinc found in cheap, mass-produced multivitamins. Your inner ear, a veritable biological marvel, harbors one of the highest concentrations of zinc in your entire body, and this is for a profoundly important biological reason. The intricate process of hearing, the constant conversion of sound waves into neural impulses, generates an astonishing amount of oxidative stress within these delicate cells, and zinc, in its multifaceted role, serves as your body's primary, indispensable antioxidant shield, a robust guardian against this constant cellular assault. Without an adequate supply of this vital mineral, your precious hearing cells literally begin to rust, to degrade, to succumb to the ravages of free radical damage. But here lies a crucial secret, a fundamental truth that tragically eludes most individuals. You might be dutifully consuming zinc through your diet, but the stark reality is that you are quite simply not absorbing it effectively. I refer to these unseen culprits as the invisible killers. If your dietary habits include consuming significant amounts of phytates often found in processed grains. Or if your daily routine involves an excessive intake of caffeine, you are, regrettably, quite literally constructing an impenetrable barrier, actively blocking the zinc from ever reaching its vital destination in your cochlea. You are, in essence, starving amidst a feast, surrounded by potential nourishment that your body cannot utilize. Roberto, despite his best intentions, believed he was eating healthily. However, his long-standing morning ritual was unknowingly flushing his precious zinc reserves down the drain. Our approach involved a meticulous flooding of his system with highly bioavailable zinc, strategically incorporating nutrient-dense foods like pumpkin seeds and specific lean proteins, while simultaneously identifying and rigorously removing the dietary blockers. Within a matter of weeks, the cellular rust began its slow but undeniable clearance, and for the first time in years, Roberto reported a tangible, blessed reduction in the sheer volume of that incessant hiss. Now, I must share with you a revelation that might, quite understandably, come as a considerable shock. While you are diligently striving to mend and protect your ears, you might entirely inadvertently be poisoning them. There exists an entire class of substances, ubiquitous in our modern lives, known as autotoxic drugs. These are not obscure, exotic compounds. They are everyday items, common pain relievers such as aspirin or certain widely prescribed anti-inflammatory medications that, with insidious efficacy, inflict direct chemical damage upon your delicate hair cells. They trigger a massive, destructive release of free radicals, overwhelming your body's natural antioxidant defenses, particularly your zinc and magnesium shields. If you are routinely reaching for these medications to alleviate chronic joint pain or persistent headaches, you are, in essence, caught in a paradoxical loop, valiantly attempting to extinguish a raging fire with a bucket of water on one side, while simultaneously pouring highly flammable gasoline onto the flames on the other. My meticulously crafted protocol for Roberto involved precisely identifying these hidden, insidious toxins within his daily regimen and systematically replacing them with potent, natural anti-inflammatory alternatives such as curcumin and boswellia. This strategic intervention finally afforded his ears the crucial opportunity to breathe, to heal, and to embark on a long overdue journey of recovery. However, the powerful impact of zinc is merely the initial chapter in our comprehensive strategy. We absolutely must address the critical issue of neurological insulation. Envision, if you will, a high-voltage power line, a conduit of immense electrical energy. If you were to strip away the essential rubber coating, the protective insulation from that line, what would ensue? It would hum with chaotic energy, it would buzz erratically, it would spark unpredictably, posing a significant risk. This precise, perilous scenario is, to a startling degree, precisely what is transpiring with your auditory nerve right now. If your vitamin B12 levels are not meticulously maintained within what I term the Kent optimal zone, a threshold far exceeding typical clinical normalcy, your auditory nerve is at severe risk. As we gracefully, or sometimes less gracefully, navigate the aging process, our stomachs regrettably lose a significant portion of their intrinsic ability to effectively absorb vitamin B12 from our diet. This age-related malabsorption leads directly to a process known as demyelination, the gradual, insidious thinning and eventual degradation of the nerve's crucial protective myelin sheath. When that vital sheath becomes compromised, thinned, or damaged, the delicate electrical signals, which should flow seamlessly, begin to leak out, scattering erratically. Your brain, valiantly attempting to interpret this chaotic signal leakage, perceives it as a constant, aggravating buzzing noise. I am unequivocal on this point. Whether your laboratory results report a B12 level of 300 or 400, figures often deemed normal by conventional standards. For a senior individual suffering from tinnitus, this is, without equivocation, a profound deficiency. To even begin the intricate repair process, to truly restore neurological integrity, we absolutely need your B12 levels to be closer to a robust 800. This stark disparity is precisely why Roberto's previous doctors tragically missed this critical piece of the puzzle. They were diligently searching for the absence of sick, while I was relentlessly pursuing the optimal conditions for profound repair and regeneration. Furthermore, a question that frequently arises from my patients is, why does the incessant ringing seem to intensify, becoming markedly louder when I'm under significant stress? The answer lies in the potent neurochemical known as glutamate. Glutamate, often referred to as the gas pedal of the brain, is an excitatory neurotransmitter. When you are subjected to profound stress, your brain, in an evolutionary response, floods the delicate auditory cortex with an excessive surge of this chemical. And crucially, if you do not possess sufficient reserves of magnesium to effectively act as the essential brake pedal for this excitatory deluge, you enter a perilous neurological state known as excitotoxicity. In this state, your delicate nerves fire so rapidly, so fiercely, and with such unmitigated intensity that they actually begin to damage themselves, caught in a self-destructive feedback loop. This precisely is the glutamate storm. It is why your ears often scream with heightened intensity after an exceptionally long and draining day of work, or following a night of terribly inadequate, fragmented sleep. Our urgent task, therefore, is to manually and intentionally reset that critical brake pedal by strategically flooding the inner ear with the correct, highly bioavailable forms of magnesium, specifically sourced through nutrient-rich foods such as crisp almonds, creamy avocados, and vibrant dark leafy greens. We are effectively and profoundly turning down the gain on your internal amplifier. We are, quite literally, communicating to the overstimulated nerve, instructing it to calm down, to cease its frenetic, self-damaging activity. If your understanding of vitamin D is still confined to its well-known role in bone health, then I regret to inform you that your perspective is rooted firmly in the scientific paradigm of the 1990s. The groundbreaking research meticulously published in Frontiers in Neurology in early 2026 has unequivocally and completely reshaped the entire scientific landscape surrounding this remarkable nutrient. Vitamin D3 is far more than just a vitamin. It is a powerful neurosteroid. It plays a pivotal regulatory role in the expression of hundreds, if not thousands, of genes throughout your entire nervous system, including the crucial genes specifically responsible for safeguarding and protecting your intricate auditory pathway. The aforementioned study was crystal clear, its findings unmistakable. Individuals suffering from chronic, bothersome tinnitus consistently exhibit significantly lower circulating D3 levels compared to those fortunate enough to not experience this debilitating condition. The profound implication here is clear. D3 functions as the diligent repair foreman of the entire body. If your essential foreman is missing, absent from the job site, the necessary repairs simply never get done. You remain tragically stuck in a perpetual, agonizing loop of chronic inflammation and cellular degradation. The truth is, many of you are instinctively shying away from the sun's beneficial rays, or employing such copious amounts of sunscreen that your D3 levels are plummeting into critical deficiency. We urgently need to guide you back into that precious 15 minutes of direct, unfiltered morning sun exposure, or prioritize the consistent intake of nutrient-dense foods like wild-caught salmon and pasture-raised eggs, thereby providing your auditory nerve with the essential currency it desperately requires to initiate and complete its own self-repair. Have you ever noticed that the incessant beep, the maddening ringing, seems to amplify, becoming distinctly louder around 3 a.m.? This phenomenon is not merely attributable to the room's profound stillness. It is intrinsically linked to the fact that your ears, like virtually every other system in your body, possess their own intricate circadian rhythm. During the deep, restorative hours of the night, your body diligently attempts to enter a crucial phase of systemic repair and regeneration. However, if the foundational raw materials, the vital zinc, the indispensable B12, the critical magnesium, are simply not present or present in insufficient quantities, this intricate repair process stalls, it falters, it comes to a grinding halt. The brain, meticulously detecting this broken, malfunctioning signal, in its valiant but misguided effort to pinpoint the problem, amplifies it, making the noise even more pronounced. This, in essence, is a destructive neural feedback loop. To effectively rectify this, your final meal of the day must be meticulously curated to be your most nutrient-dense offering specifically for the auditory system. We are going to strategically time your nutrient intake to perfectly match and synchronize with your body's natural nocturnal repair cycle, thereby compelling the brain to finally recognize the fixed, restored signal and quiet the internal din. And finally, to truly quiet the persistent noise, we absolutely must confront and address the insidious problem of thick blood. Your inner ear, as we discussed, is supplied by a network of incredibly delicate vessels, thinner even than a single human hair. If your blood is burdened with an overload of inflammatory markers, if it's thick with cellular debris and lacks proper fluidity, it transforms into a sluggish, viscous sludge. In this compromised state, it simply cannot efficiently deliver the vital B12 or the essential zinc to those desperately starving hair cells. This is precisely where the profound benefits of omega-3 fatty acids enter the equation. They are, quite literally, ear lubricants. They work at a fundamental cellular level, making the membranes of your delicate hearing cells fluid, exquisitely flexible, and vibrantly alive. And when you strategically pair this cellular lubrication with a comprehensive vascular protocol, utilizing potent natural vasodilators such as fresh ginger, robust garlic, and the revered ginkgo biloba, you are, in essence, opening the floodgates. You are allowing the life-giving nutrients to finally, unimpededly, reach the starved and desperate cells, initiating a cascade of healing. I witnessed this transformative shift firsthand in Roberto during his 4th month under my care. He entered my office, a renewed sense of hope in his eyes, and declared, "Dr. Kent, the noise, it's still there, yes, but it's different. It's further away now. It's no longer dominating the front of my mind, demanding my constant, agonizing attention." That, my friends, is the unequivocal sound of blood, rich with vital nutrients, finally, miraculously, reaching the long-starved auditory nerve. So, what does all of this profound insight mean for you tonight as you prepare to conclude your day? Tonight, I want you to make a solemn, unwavering commitment to my auditory rescue dinner. We're talking about a beautifully baked piece of wild-caught salmon, providing an abundant payload of crucial D3 and powerful omega-3s. We're pairing that with a truly massive, vibrant salad, brimming with baby spinach for its rich magnesium content, generously topped with a handful of crunchy, raw pumpkin seeds, delivering that essential zinc. We then dress this culinary masterpiece with a drizzle of heart-healthy olive oil, a squeeze of fresh, zesty lemon, and a delicate grating of fresh ginger, specifically chosen to kickstart and optimize that crucial microcirculation. That single, meticulously designed meal provides a truly massive biological payload of precisely what your precious ears have been profoundly starving for. Now, I must temper expectations. Do not, for a moment, anticipate a miraculous overnight transformation in 24 hours. Your delicate nerves have endured years of insidious starvation and degradation. They will, understandably, require weeks, perhaps even months, to fully recover and regenerate. However, based on my extensive research and clinical experience, the first blessed moments of profound silence usually begin to gently appear between week 3 and week 6 of consistently adhering to this protocol. Roberto, whose journey we have followed, didn't just reclaim his precious silence, he emphatically got his entire life back. Just last month, he sent me a heartwarming photograph of himself in a sun-drenched park, joyfully playing with his 8-year-old daughter. His accompanying message read, "Doctor, I can hear her laugh again, truly hear her, without that incessant whistle relentlessly competing for my attention, without it drowning out the most beautiful sound in the world. That, profoundly, is why I dedicate my life to this work. That is precisely why I am compelled to challenge the ingrained, often dismissive normal diagnosis that traps millions in needless suffering. Because you, unequivocally, deserve silence. You deserve the profound peace of going to bed tonight and hearing nothing, absolutely nothing, but the gentle rhythm of your own breathing. I urge you, share this vital information, this message of hope, with just one person you know who is needlessly suffering from this debilitating condition, because millions are being tragically told there is no cure, when, in fact, the profound solution is sitting right on their dinner plate, waiting to be discovered. Write to me in the comments below. Tell me with heartfelt honesty, how long has your internal alarm bell been ringing? I meticulously read every single one of your stories. They are not just anecdotes. They are the profound fuel, the driving force for my next groundbreaking research project. I am Dr. Michael Kent, and your health, your profound well-being is the only metric that truly matters. I'll see you in the next consultation.